In today's video, we'll be taking a look at my personal favourite class, the Warlock. Like the video before, I will be going through the class features and what are some of the best racial choices, and of course, what subclass to choose. Man, what the—
You have been chosen.
Who in the seven hells is this?
As I see you are in need, I will betrow unto you my powers and help you achieve your goals of becoming a great YouTuber.
What's the catch?
All I ask for in return is for you to accept my pact, and when I call upon you, you shall answer. What say thee?
I'm in. Well, that just happened. Hi everyone, Archive here, and welcome back to another episode of Baldur's Gate 3. Just wanted to start off by saying a massive thank you for all of you taking the time to watch. And if you don't mind hitting the like button and consider subscribing, it really does help a small channel like mine to grow. Now with all that said, let's dive into the video. The Warlock is a powerful spellcaster, but is also one of the easiest spellcasters to play, which makes them really newcomer friendly. Unlike the Wizard or the Cleric class, who get their powers from either acquiring knowledge or faith of their god, the Warlock acquires their powers from making a pact with a powerful otherworldly being. They also have a unique feature that allows them to recharge their spell slots on a short rest. This gives them a lot more staying power in short bursts. While the game is still in early access, we currently have access to 2 of the 3 Patreons, these being the Fiend and the Great Old One. The Great Old One gives you powers over the mind, whereas the Fiend focuses more on fire and gives you hellish blessings. But we will talk more on that later in the video. The Warlock is proficient in all simple weapons and light armor, and will also be proficient in wisdom and charisma saving throws. But as far as weapons go, this isn't really that important, as they will rarely be using in it, as your main form of damage will come from your cantrips. Let's take a look at the Warlock's hit points. At level 1, the Warlock will start with 1d8 plus your constitution modifier, meaning you will start the game with the minimum of 8 HP. After that, each level you gain, you will roll an 8-sided dice, and then add your constitution modifier. You will then add this to the total of your current HP. Now let's take a look at the ability scores. The Warlock is a very charismatic spellcaster, meaning that charisma is your main ability score and is where you want to focus the majority of your points, as this will give you bonuses to your attacks. Constitution should be your second priority, as this will help maintain concentration on certain spells later down the line, and it will also help with your hit points. Your third choice should be dexterity, as this will help with your armor class and making it a lot harder to hit you in combat. The final ability score is more of a personal choice at this point, and you should just look at more into how you want to roleplay your Warlock and make your choices from that. With races, we'll start off like always by explaining there's no right or wrong answer, as I always think you should just pick what makes more sense to the character you have in mind. Now with that said, there is choices that will give you a better start. So what race will give my Warlock a good start? Well, luckily enough, there's a lot of them to choose from, these being the Drow, Half-Elf, Tiefling, Human, or even the Halfling. But my personal favourites being the Tiefling and the Half-Elf. Let's take a look at why in a little bit more detail, starting off with the Tiefling. From the start, the Tiefling gives you +2 in Charisma and either 1 in Intelligence or in Strength, just depending on what sub-race you're picking. You also gain the ability called Hellish Resistance. This gives you resistance to all fire damage, and you also get Dark Vision, which allows you to see 60 foot in dim light. Whereas the Half-Elf also gives you +2 in Charisma, as well as 2 points to go into any stats of your choosing. I recommend Dexterity or Constitution for the reasons I mentioned earlier. You also gain Fey Ancestry. This gives you advantage on all saving throws against being charmed, as well as all magic effects not being able to put you to sleep. You also get Dark Vision, which allows you to see 60 feet in dim light. In the latest panel from Hell, which sadly was the last one by the way, sorry to anyone waiting for the Monk class, but don't you worry, I've got you covered, as we will still be covering that class in the guide videos later on. We were treated to what the community had been asking for a long time, this being level 5. So in this part of the video we're going to go through levels 1 to 5 so you have a good understanding of what to expect. Starting with level 1. At level 1 you get your first big choice, this being what patron you want to go with. Your choices being the Fiend, who exists in a lower plane of existence, whose aims tend to be a little bit more on the evil side. Picking this patron comes with certain perks though, this being Dark One's Blessing. This allows you to gain temporary hit points equal to your charisma level and warlock level when you reduce a creature's hit points to 0. Very useful ability to have. You also get to choose from an extended spell list, but just keep in mind that these spells mainly contain fire spells. Or you can opt to go with the Great Old One. This is a mysterious life form whose nature is completely foreign to our reality. At level 1 you also get to choose from an extended spell list, although these spells often focus more on the mind. At level 1 your Warlock gains their pact magic. This is magic given to you by your patron. You start off with 2 cantrips and 2 chosen spells, with 1 spell slot. With the cantrips there are a few to choose from, these being Blade Ward, Chilling Touch, Friends, Mage Hand, Minor Image, Poison Spray, True Strike, but your best and most important one being Eldritch Blast. Eldritch Blast is a Warlock's bread and butter, and is one of the main ways of dealing damage. As for other cantrips, that is really up to you, as you already have one of the best damaging cantrips in the game. I recommend picking a more utility based spell, something like Mage Hand or even Friends. You also get the option of 2 spells at level 1, with the best one being, in my opinion, Hex. Hex will curse a creature and allow you to deal an extra 1d6 damage when attacking the target. This will also give the target disadvantage on ability checks of your choice. Just keep in mind this is a concentration spell. If a creature dies with Hex on it, you are then able to use a bonus action to recast it onto another target without using a spell slot. As for your second spell, my recommendations would be Armour of Agathis. This gives the Warlock an extra bit of defense as it gives you 5 temporary hit points. It also deals 5 cold damage to whoever hits you. This effect lasts for 1 round and makes a good all-round defense ability. Now that they have given us a new reaction system, I also recommend Hellish Rebuke. This allows you to deal 2d10 fire damage as a reaction when an enemy attacks you, but just keep in mind this does use a spell slot. When you hit level 2 you get an extra spell known as well as another spell slot. You also get to choose 2 Eldritch Invocations, allowing you to customise the Warlock even further. My 2 favourites being Agonizing Blast, which allows you to add your charisma modifiers to the damage of your Eldritch Blast. I mean, you can't go wrong with more damage, right? And the other being Repelling Blast, as this allows you to knock a creature 5 foot back on a successful hit. At level 3 you gain your Pack of the Chains, which allows you to summon a familiar to assist you in and out of combat. But as you're a Warlock you are able to summon additional familiars, these being the Imp or the Quasit. Sorry if I pronounced that one wrong. In addition to this you gain access to some level 2 spells, my favourite out of these being Misty Step, as this allows you to relocate 18 meters in any direction, making it a good all-rounder spell in and out of battle. But if that's not your playstyle, there are many more to choose from. Level 4 is really simple for the Warlock. When you hit level 4 you get the choice of ability score improvement, or you can opt for a feat. Now personally the best choice in my opinion is improving your charisma, as this will always help with your damage output and of course your charisma based checks. Let's move on to level 5. When hitting level 5 you get an extra cantrip known, bringing your total up to 3, as well as having a total of 6 spells known, with 2 spell slots available. You also unlock level 3 spells, but more importantly you get a new Eldritch Invocation, allowing you to further customise your Warlock. And that's it for today's class guide. As always, thanks for watching the video and I hope you enjoyed the content. And the question of the day will be, will you be bringing a Warlock on your adventures? If not, what class will you be picking? Let me know in the comments down below. And I'll see you in the next episode of Baldur's Gate 3. Bye.
And don't forget to subscribe, mortals.